All right, welcome to On My Block Packers podcast. This is our preview edition. Packers are playing the Los Angeles Rams this Monday Night Football, I believe. I'm your co-host, Mike Wall, along with Packers all-time leading rusher, Amon Green. Amon, how was Vegas, baby?
Man, Vegas was good, man. Vegas was good. It was cold.
I see you in the bow tie.
I never been.
I know my parents live out there. It's like it was in the 40s.
Yes, I was like, "What is going
That's why they drink
on?"
so much.
I'm like, "Global warming is real."
No, you got to understand. You got to understand. You're in the high desert. It's not like everybody thinks it's desert
when the sun goes in.
But the high desert, like it's 3,000, 3,500 square feet. So it's not square feet, 3,500 feet off sea level. So high desert, it gets cold.
Yeah,
it's no joke.
Yeah.
Mount Charleston up there.
That was the first time. Yeah, the first time I saw my breath in Vegas. I was breathing at the terminal right before the Uber came pick me up, and I'm like, you could see my breath, and I'm in Vegas. I was like, oh, that's the first.
You're not a smoker.
But no, I enjoyed the event.
Sorry.
Yeah, I'm happy for that though. I'm happy for that. But no, it was a good trip, man. Got to experience the esports industry in a way that they're doing their best to relate to other industries. It was more like it's like the Oscars to esports. Head coach, coach of the year, player of the year, content creator of the year. It was cool. It was
it was there. It was there within the last week, right? The porn awards.
Yeah. I know the AVN awards.
Yeah, I knew. See, now it's all we'll cover the whole thing. AG, just wait. So I've been to the porn awards. That's a whole different discussion.
Yeah, you told me.
It's nuts, man. I can't imagine what it's like now.
Yeah,
but back then, my cousin's buddy owned a website. Man, it's nuts. Anyways, with that said,
I've heard about it.
Basketball is back. And BetOnline remains your number one source for all your sports betting needs this season. You always find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. And as your continued source for all sports wagering information, BetOnline features live betting, free contests, and giveaways all season long. Always the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports and events, whether that's National Football League, NBA, NHL, MMA, tennis, boxing, golf, or even esports. Head to betonlineag.ag to join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use our promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. AG, we had the bye week. Packers come off the bye, so they get this win. It's kind of an ugly win. Come off the bye week, and we're playing. You look, it's like we've got the last four games. There's a lot of well, first of all, there's been a lot of discussion like, why the hell did we not take the bye week? And we talked about this last week. Why didn't we take it right after the England trip like you have the option to do? And this turns out this like week 15 or whatever bye week is a really, or 14 is a really bad idea. I think all the players are like, we're kind of ready to play. This is the time where we want to get the season going. We feel like we might be able to build some momentum. So I think that part of it will be interesting. What do you see any potential like repercussions moving forward off of the fact that like, it's really unorthodox to have a bye week this late in the season.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I say on the reverse side, I remember, I think it was 2001 season where the Chargers had a bye week 2, and then they had to play 14 weeks of straight football.
That's back
and now from that end.
Well, they used to do it. From I think from week 2 to like week 13 or 14, but now it's compressed, right? They'll just do a week 5 to 10 or something like that is a lot less games.
Right. So I say from that end, obviously nightmare because you play 2 games and then you got 14 straight games to go. With this one being late, I say the only repercussions of, and you mentioned it, is you lose the momentum coming out of that win. Regardless how the win looked against the Bears, you had a win. You want to keep that stuff going. I say that's about it. Everybody, I mean, other than that, you get the guys healed up just a little bit more that are healthy, that are playing. I think that's about it. And then extra week to get ready for a Rams team that is really not much to get ready for because of injury on their side as well, and a new quarterback in Baker Mayfield.
Hey, don't bad mouth me.
Calling the plays right now.
I'm
just saying. It just
you're right.
It's not much to get ready for in terms of he hasn't been in that offense, and not that he's not a good quarterback. He's a decent quarterback. He just got there. He was able to pull a win out somehow last week.
Player of the week.
Player of the week. So that right there.
How many times have we gotten player of the week this year?
I don't know.
I think it rhymes with hero. Everything you're saying is right, man. The only thing I thought about AG is like when you're in the groove, and I'm not talking about necessarily from a team standpoint, but like sometimes the team can play a certain way, but Amon Green's still playing really well and is kind of in that zone, and you don't want to break that. Like I always felt like,
yeah,
it hit the end of November, December. It was like it was always go time, but now it's really matters because you're trying to slot for the playoffs, you're trying to build momentum. There's a lot of different. We talked about last year, like there's some Pro Bowl stuff going on right now, and like for me, I would not want to have a bye week this late just because I would feel like you're almost like you're missing out on an opportunity to like improve or just maintain or whatever that is at this point. But
maintain, I say maintain it for sure.
Yeah. There's the other thing that's in the news right now, the Pro Bowl voting, and I've gotten on the social media, I followed your lead, and you have to vote if you're a fan. You vote for. So first of all, for those who don't know, I think it's like a third media, third players, and a third fans, or something like that. But basically,
it's been like that for years.
Yeah, but now the fan votes are through social media, through like via Twitter. So if you're a average player but an incredible social media guy, like that is counterintuitive to everything that you and I believe. But those are the people that can get these votes. So I'm super cynical about the Pro Bowl, as you know, but like this makes it even more unrealistic for me as far as the best players actually getting to go. You're a social media guy. You were just at esports. You're much hipper than I am. Can you just help me understand how Twitter can reward great play in the NFL?
It does it because the Twitter feed is a feed compared to Facebook and Instagram where there's people voicing their opinions, and that opinion can affect other opinions. And so if somebody says, oh, so-and-so needs to be in a Pro Bowl, if that player says it, that player already has his 10,000 or whatever thousand fans already following him. So anything that player says, be it this, for example, Tom Brady, Matt Stafford, somebody that's not having a good year, but is a prominent name, they just say, hey, get me out to Hawaii again, and you can hang out with me at the bar all day. They can do simple stuff like that.
Well, you see guys give away. You can give away like a gift, like, hey, win a jersey, like get put in a raffle. And
exactly,
I have to be honest. I think it's disgusting. I think it's absolutely disgusting. I don't think there's any reason that should be happening. And you obviously want to have
for Pro Bowl reasons, right?
Yeah. I mean, because let's put it this way. I think at one point, getting that recognition was a big deal, at one point, an agent would go into a contractual meeting with the team and say, well, so-and-so has that many Pro Bowls. But when the Pro Bowl is being based on Twitter votes or, things that are just completely out of your control. I suppose it's always been that way, but now it's magnified. You just go, well, wait a second. Like, you just go, well, wait a second. This makes absolutely no sense. The people that are making it, and then, making it has turned into not as big a deal because it's not in Hawaii. So then it's like, I know guys that are like, I'll make it. If I make it, then I like the guy who's behind me at the alternate. I just won't go. And then I'll just tell them that they have to buy me a ticket and I'll stay with them. And so they're all there. Just one of them's not playing, one of them's not. Now they get the nod, and now they can say, well, he's a 3-time Pro Bowl guy and he can, he should be getting paid more. So it's just another imperfect thing that there's really no solution for, but it is, I don't know, man. The Twitter, I saw that on Twitter a couple years ago.
Said perfectly. You said it perfectly. An imperfect thing.
Well, okay. We're coming out of this. We got to go 4-0 to even have a chance to go to the playoffs. I know there's a bunch of there's people running scenarios and everything, but let's just bottom line. If you go 4-0, you're probably going to get in. If you're usually in the bye week, and one of the good things about having it earlier is that as a coach, like we would go in as a coaching staff and say, okay, let's self-scout ourselves. Right. Let's see what tendencies are good. And a lot of guys are doing this week to week now, but I'm talking about you can get a little more depth and detail, not just in like formation. Because what usually people go to is like, well, when we're in this formation with this personnel group, we run these 3 plays all the time and we tip it off by this. But I'm talking about we could be looking at that, but we could also be looking at ourselves and say, okay, what do we do? What do we do well? What do we do poorly? What do we do well individually or as a group that we need to magnify? What do we do poorly at the fill in the blank position that we need to get rid of? Is there anything, if you put on your coaching hat and you look at, we're self-scouting right now, what are the things that like jump off your page that during this bye week you want to improve on?
Improve on blocking up front. Helping out the quarterback, helping out the running backs. Easy, not no. It's not an intentional thing, but offensively, got to look at that.
Individually or everybody? Damn you, Amon. Jesus.
I would say.
Bakhtiari's playing well.
I say it starts. I'll go with the individual for everybody. Every player got to check themselves on the line, work on that technique a little bit better, understand the concepts, understand the audibles. If they got questions, hey, this is your time to ask. We got a bye. We got a free week. To work on some things and get things right against a healthy good. If this team is healthy, it's a good team. But right now, this team is not healthy. But they're still pros, and they're gonna come out here and play on Monday night.
I think one thing that interesting. I don't know if this is held up over the last 2 weeks before the bye, but I think 2 weeks before the bye, I heard a statistic. It was something to the effect of, because we always talk about under center quarterbacks with play action pass and all that stuff, right? Aaron doesn't necessarily like it, but it seems to be. We average much more yards per play when he's under center, but the running yards actually go down because teams are more ready for it. But it's intuitive, right? Because when you're in shotgun, you're in a 2x2 or a 3x1, it's spread out. You got 6 in the box. Like it's way easier to run. I would probably look at our team and look at teams across the entire league, and from an offensive standpoint, and go, okay, and we'll show it a little bit on the tape we have today. When you go, if you want to go under center play action pass, we got to get the most out of it as we can. And the way that we'll do that is our outside toss crack plays and forcing corners to make tackles is some of the stuff that works against those kind of defenses. And then the other thing is when we're going to go shotgun and we're going to go play action pass, we want to make some hay on some deep crossers. We want to make some hay on some of those dig routes. We have to pull linemen. The only thing that seems to consistently work this year or across the entire league is when you do play action, you pull one or multiple linemen out of 12 or 13 personnel or 21 personnel, you get the bite, and you can get away with running 2 and 3 man routes now, as opposed to just going that fake give where everybody's just trying to set. There's a left tackle on the backside setting back, and the linebackers don't see anything, but they just turn and start running and making their drops. So offensively, I'd see that.
Yeah, they see all that motioning.
Yeah, they see all the stuff, and it's like the run too. And we'll show Bobby Wagner, as good as he is for the LA Rams, man. He's a run first linebacker, right? He's downhill thumper, so he bites hard. And then defensively, man, I don't think you said it, but I know you've talked about it. Is I hope they spent some time tackling last week. I just hope they spent some time 100%. Tackling, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if anything else, man, can we track our near hip and can we decel before contact? Like, we get decel under control. So, I mean, 100%. it's just been
have that.
It's just been a situation that is chronically hurting this team's chances to stop anything second or third down. So, Big question probably is. Let's talk about the Rams. Let's start. You want to start? I think I started. I think on the tape I started offense first. But so let's just skip down and go to the offense if that's good with you, man. These guys are averaging 16 points per. So first big news: Baker Mayfield's going to be quarterback, and he came in last week, 48 hours notice, played a hell of a game against the Raiders, right? Yeah. And played a hell of a game, and listen,
being Baker,
Baker. There were some things that the rest of their team made some mistakes, and it actually hurt the team as far as points. But he ended up leading the playoff or the game-winning drive at the end of the regulation. And there's some things that he can do that certainly he's not Matthew Stafford as far as arm strength and anticipation, but there's certainly some things he can do and throws he can make. We'll show it on tape. 16 points a game is good for 29th in the league. They're not scoring a ton of points. They have a ton of injuries up front. They're averaging around 283 yards a game, only 3.7 yards per rush, man. I mean, that is, in this day and age in the National Football League, that is absolutely horrific. 86 yards per game rushing. When you think about it, they've got some guys back there, especially I think they spent a first-round pick on Cam Akers, didn't they?
I believe so, yeah.
Was he a first? So. He might have been he might have been a second-round pick, it looks like. But between him, the kid from Notre Dame, Kyron Williams, he's a good little running back. But I know they've had some issues with Cam as far as him wanting to leave the team.
He had injuries last year.
Yeah. Well, he had injuries, but I think this year he was actually
a second-round pick. He was a second-round pick in 2020.
So he was frustrated this year to I think ask for a release. They've kind of worked him back in, and he's starting running back again. But we'll show on tape that he's just not hitting the hole like he should. And I think there's some opportunities to make hay there. I like Atwell, what he's doing out on the wide receiver position. They've got obviously Van Jefferson, who, by the way, do you know Van Jefferson's dad is Sean Jefferson? Did you know that? Sean J? Do you know Sean? So Sean, he's a little bit older than us. He played for Patriots, among other teams, but he's one of the most badass coaches I've ever been around, dude. Like, this guy is the real deal, man. He's like a GOAT coach. Like, he coaches he's in Arizona now. He was down when I was with Miami. He was with the Jets. He was with the Patriots, man. He is one of the best coaches I've been around. So I've known his kids since Van was, I think, coming out of high school, going to college. He went to Ole Miss, and kid's a baller.
Gotcha.
Obviously, they're missing Cooper Kupp and they're missing some other guys, but they made up for it. And Baker's one of those dudes who will give guys like, I can't even pronounce this guy's name, Skowronek. Like, he'll give him chances. He gave him chances in the last game. So there's some opportunities here, man.
Exactly.
Let's hit some tape.
It is. And I say Baker before the tape pulls up. Baker's that type of guy. He has the mentality to come in and do that. Like, he feels he could just show up because he's been that red shirt guy since Oklahoma. And even before that, he was always a backup, but then he grinds out to that starting position. So he has that mentality.
He embraces the underdog, doesn't he?
Exactly.
And I think he has a relationship with this offense, at least with McVay, because obviously Stefanski, they have a prior relationship, So I think, like, when he came in here, he had 48 hours and he's making checks at the line and stuff. There's part of that is like, well, he knows it, but we'll show on this tape. There's a couple of things that are interesting because this offense was so effective when everybody was healthy. But even last year, and even when they had a big Andrew Whitworth, who retired and is kind of, their line's been decimated with injury. They lost, they've lost 3 starting linemen last year to free agency and retirement, and then everybody else is starting to get hurt. They're not very good. They weren't, but to be fair, like, they haven't been very good for a number of years. Like, every time the Packers have played you and I've done a show, it's like we should be able to rush on them all day because they can't really pass pro. They do some run, they do some play action, the key passes, the quick passes. Like, they can get their guys open in space, but they're not particularly good. AG, one thing I wanted to highlight here is because they're at home, and you see the tackle, the wide receiver to the left, and then the wide receiver to the right. Man, they all got to look at the ball. Isn't that nuts? And so what happens? Because we're going to be in Lambeau, and look how
you got all them Raider fans there.
But look how weak they come off the ball, man. I mean, you see, and Max Crosby's a great player. Excuse me, but he stands up there, their captain. These guys both get pushed to the line of scrimmage and end up making this play for no gain. It's just one of those things where you're like, there's some operational stuff that it's just kind of interesting, right? From a attacking perspective,
because you want to surge. Yeah, you want to surge from your offensive line, especially with a run. With a run being taking place. But when it's not, when it's play action, you still want to see a surge, but then you want to see a nice little barrier between, like, a good 5 yards between the quarterback that's in the pocket, if it's a pass play, to the lineman holding up their blocks. And on that run, it was a lot of penetration going on.
So because it's the Baker show, man, I only pulled clips from when Baker's in. I just thought that was appropriate. One thing that happens when you have a new guy, and I think this is that Atwell kid trying to block Max Crosby on an end around, and I highlight it because they're just not, like, when you have a new quarterback, this is a bad matchup, right? It's a bad matchup right here, and it's an even worse matchup when he steps outside like he's about to. And they don't have anything that can account from this. Like, as soon as Max Crosby stands up and is anywhere near that guy, they should be able to check out of this. But because you have that new quarterback, like, this is one of those weeks, hopefully, where they may have to stay with bad plays sometimes, and you can get away with a couple things. You can get some tackles for loss. Does that make sense?
Yeah, because that makes sense, because that wide receiver doesn't have the strength to get leverage on a Pro Bowl defensive end.
Yeah, I mean, look at
we see right
watch him try to block, dude. This is so funny. I look, because I think Atwell's like, I think
at least he's trying.
It's not. Listen, we're giving him a hard time because he's playing well, right? But look at that. Come on, Max Crosby's like, dude, I'm 5 yards up field. What are you doing? These are tough.
Right. Hey,
these are tough. I
wanted you to have A for effort. A for effort.
I went slow-mo here because I wanted you to tell the audience, like, how you see this, because this is Cam Akers early in the game, and you see, like, so I saw. You go at feel free.
Yeah. So this is an inside zone play here.
Mm-hmm.
And the way the footwork starts off is open step, so he's going to the right. So right leg open step and then crossover to downhill. And those 3 steps right there helps the lineman get into their run fits. And then it gives you as a running back, by your 3rd or 4th step, you should be about 2 yards from the heels of the lineman. And then you got a 3 right there is a 3-way go, or it's a 2-way go. Oh, actually 3-way, but that backside is garbage where Higbee's coming to. You got to stay inside of that number 9. Now, if you go to 8 on that jersey, you're in trouble. But if you stay on that inside part 9, if you cut back there, it might be a slight little crease there, but that's garbage because you want to make sure you stay on the backside of your blockers. But you have that right path where you see the center 55 going up, and then 64 you could go cut on his inside hip too. You could cut up straight up fill on that, or he could take that gap to see and get some positive yardage. But when he gets to the linebacker level, just drop your pass. But this is a good footwork play to get I'll say this is good footage to get, using your footwork to let your linemen get to their blocks.
So I looked at this, and the reason I brought it, maybe this is why you're the expert, right? Like I saw this and I saw that hole, and I'm like, Amon would just go north and south here. Like, what are we doing?
Exactly. I'm not looking. He's looking. He's looking outside for some reason.
Yeah, it just seemed bizarre, and this has kind of been the knock on him, especially since he came back from injury. Is like he's not taking the free yards.
Vision.
He's not taking the free yards.
Yeah, it's the vision. That's between footwork and vision right there. I say once the footwork gets you there, then it's the vision that's going to continue where you keep using your eyes and keeping your head up where you can see the field easy, like you said, easy yardage between those blocks.
This guy popped off. Kyron Williams, Notre Dame kid, right? I think he's a rookie. He kind of popped off the screen, and maybe it was just because in contrast and comparison to Akers, but I bet we see a lot of. I like the way this kid runs. I bet we see a lot of this kid, man, because it's not like these Rams guys up front inside can't block the run game. Like they're not terrible, right? Like that's good push on the backside. You have 2 good double teams. Anytime you can't see the defensive lineman in between these guys, like you've done a nice job, right? And all you got to do here is what you've just said. Get that 3rd, 4th step. You
plant the foot and get north.
And this guy's gone
north,
right?
And he's there. There you go. That's the seam you want right there. Is plant that foot, get north. Don't give the linebackers no time to shimmy by your blockers. So get fast.
Hey, I got a question for you, AG. So when guys watch Barry Sanders, okay, because Barry Sanders is probably the most entertaining guy to watch ever, and he'll make a 1-yard run just look amazing, right? But there's also part of it where if you watch Thurman Thomas, who's in the same generation, Hall of Fame guy, to me, 1 and 2, like I thought Thurman was better than Emmitt Smith, just personally, just because Emmitt Smith's line was so good. But you could even talk about Emmitt though. But like both Thurman and Emmitt, like it was, I see the hole, I'm just gonna go. I'm not gonna mess around with all this stuff. And Barry was like, maybe it's because his line was terrible. But he's dancing around so much, and it almost like he popularized something that you probably don't want most people to do.
Yeah, he had the ability to make up a bad cut. Like what he saw that was maybe something bad going on, he could make it good. Even his footwork, he could make his footwork starts off bad, but then it ends up good because of the damage that was being caused by the defensive front to his own linemen that they couldn't do their job. Because when I think back to Oklahoma State, he had decent lines, so he could hit a hole full speed. And I see him hit a hole full speed downhill. It's a problem. Yeah. But in Detroit, he couldn't hit a hole full speed. He had to basically hesitate just a little bit because the hole wasn't there, and then do what Barry did, what made him famous. And so as a runner and as an athlete, he needed, we adjust to what's in front of us, to what we got. He knew the line wasn't good. So that where it created something that we thought was fantastic, but most coaches be like, hey, man, stop messing around the hole. Get up north, get in the hole, get it north. Stop stutter stepping. Don't slow down. Accelerate. But he had a reason to that. So for the way I was coached and way you coach running backs, you like, this is the footwork. Hit it downhill unless your eyes tell you something else. And I remember Edgar Bennett used to say something to me, Sylvester Crooms too. They say that when they watching film, they're like, AG, I'm not in your head, but what do you see? What made you stop your feet and then reset and do that? I said, because I saw this. Not I thought I saw, but I saw this in front of me. So I had to hesitate. I had to, back off and not push the hole or whatever. I had to give them my reason. But then because they know as coaches, I'm not on that field. I don't see what you see. I only see what you see because I'm watching from the eye in the sky right now, and I'm just grading you out. But you're a pro. What made you do that? That cut. What made you go to make that block or whatever? So a good coach will ask you that.
It's like a guy like Barry Sanders. Obviously, he's physically gifted, but is what separates him a little bit that not only his vision is probably different, or it's like I always say the best athletes have like the skill set that matches their physiology, right? So his skill set matches his, like Steph Curry's skill set matches his physiology. Like that's the idea.
Right.
Is it that, or is it that all of you really good elite level running backs kind of have that vision, but because he was so unique physically at such a young age, the coaches were like, you know what, go ahead. Like if he goes to here's what I'm asking. If he goes to Bill Parcells' system, does Bill Parcells let him do that?
He'll try not to, but he will have a heart attack and be like, eventually either cuts him or be like, all right, I'm gonna deal with you, Barry. All right, I see what you're gonna do here. That's Bill Parcells' answer. He's either gonna put up with it for so much time, and eventually, oh my God, this kid's really good. Let me get out of his way.
Yeah.
Or I'm gonna cut him. He can't follow a fullback. He can't go to the hole.
Barry Sanders.
Oh my God! No, I couldn't imagine.
I'd take a long walk off a short cliff,
I'd be like,
man.
Yeah, I'm like, kid, you could do what you want. Just get the ball. Give him the ball. Just give him the ball. That's what I would.
So Baker, back to Baker. See, this is what I like. I want to digress every once in a while, and I want to talk about Barry Sanders with you, man, because I don't know about Barry Sanders. You know about Barry Sanders. But back to Baker here. Baker really does well historically, and now with this Rams offense last week, under center play action pass, something we were just talking about. And the reasons are, obviously he can run, right? So he's in a situation here where Stafford doesn't even get to this situation. Like this isn't even part of their offense with Matt Stafford, right? And none of these guys are open in the way that he finds it acceptable. So he can tuck and run here. Where this is again, this is a deal where Sean McVay sees what he has a different skill set, and is going to go ahead and take advantage of it. Now, the reason I show this, Baker's a smart quarterback. Under center play action again, sees the outside leverage. Okay, when you have outside leverage here, and this safety, there's a safety right off the screen, right where you are on the screen. So when this guy pops up, like they're playing one robber, right? So if they're going to play robber, it's like I got that deep under center play action pass. And what do we talk about literally all season, man? If you're going to play man coverage, like we're going to run crossers and beat you. And this guy can make these throws. He's was he number one pick in the draft? It's not like at one point everybody thought this guy was going to be the next thing.
Right. Yeah, those crossers with the breaks, if it's slant routes or over routes with the breaks, so the receiver just creates that natural separation, and it's going to be there.
I thought this was interesting. We saw this on both sides of the ball last week. So again, we got the under center play action pass. We went motion to create a free release here for the receiver coming over is going to be in the slot. But you look at there's free access here all over. Linebackers giving him free access because he has to stay in the box. Nobody traveled with him. They didn't rotate immediately. And so now this guy's already got a head start and has 15 plus 16 yards of separation built in to his cushion on this safety. And I just don't, like, for the life of me, when you switch this out, you see that they go quarters. And why is that important? Well, because if you're going to play that far back when you run the switch, they have no chance of making this play unless that middle linebacker has to be able to read out of that and make that drop. And it's just impossible, man. It's a really hard ask. And we'll show it here.
When it's too late,
Spotlight 52, like he didn't bite that hard, but there's no way you can get to that ball. And Baker throws a nice ball there. I mean, this isn't, to go back real quick, this is 101. This is why you go under center play action pass. You let the quarterback turn his back to the defense. Right here, you look, this guy doesn't know what it is yet. And he's like, even if you're staring at the quarterback, like, hey, great job, buddy, but where's your drop? Now you're just
out of there.
You got to get now, right?
You see the play action. Okay, the quarterback still has the ball. Get your back pedal going. turn your hips a bit, but make sure you're going in the direction you feel the ball is going.
Under center again. And we're going to highlight a couple of these just because obviously the screenplay is wide open. But when they got into the other thing that I think you're going to see a lot of if they struggle early in this game is I think they'll just run hurry up with Baker. I think they'll put the Packers in a hurry up situation and try to get the ball out of his hands, try to get moving and just kind of, hey, let's athlete them right now, Baker. Let's not worry about the scheme. And, we'll give you some basic plays. Let's go out there and do what you do. Let's play some backyard ball. Get everybody moving, get everybody up the line of scrimmage, force the Packers to communicate. We know they've had problems communicating in the secondary.
Right.
And one thing you got to appreciate about him is in situations like this is towards the end of the game, he's going to give these guys opportunities to make plays. You see the dig route there.
Yep. Good throw at the high point, give his receiver a chance where it's in a good spot where only his receiver could catch it. And it's on rhythm. You could tell he's already in rhythm.
And he's under pressure.
Play it with the offensive line, and he's under pressure. He's okay with that, and he's going to throw a strike right here.
You see the window, man. Go ahead.
Is there? No, I was thinking. I'm like, it just hit me. Like watching this game, and I said preparing for Baker takes me back to in the early season when they had the Patriots on the plate, and what happened before the Patriots. Matt Jones goes out. They got to get prepared for Zappy. And Zappy comes in and almost wins the game. So it kind of reminds me of that notion. It's like, all right, we got a guy that's he is experienced. That's what's different. The difference between him and Zappy is he has years under his belt.
Right.
Some good, some not good. But he has that very little time with this offensive line. Now he has another week under his belt with the offensive line, with the receivers, with the running backs to now work with them, just get in more rhythm. So it's going to be interesting to see because that time being a younger quarterback, seemed like the Packers didn't adjust. They were stuck with maybe thinking that, we could get some mistakes here, but the mistakes didn't happen. Zappy didn't do that. He threw strikes. He threw touchdown. So, hopefully they get more ready, prepared for a guy they already know they played against already and had decent games against in terms of Baker. But be mindful of that game. That should be a constant reminder of this season. It's like, hey, we let a young guy that didn't have a lot of experience come in here and play well. We cannot let this veteran do the same thing.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I forgot to mention here, like I don't see the Packers going empty cover zero and then playing sticks coverage like this. I mean, they might, but it's just I just think I like seeing situations like this. He's under pressure. He knows he's going to get hit, and he goes out there and is just making a good play for this team. To your point, man, like one thing that is interesting about this situation, I think, with Baker is that he has now for the first time, he's had multiple coordinators, multiple head coaches, right? Mm-hmm. He's had issues. Yep. He's certainly, he's got a little chip on his shoulder, but he's got he's got Sean McVay, dude. Like, it's like you got Sean McVay now. Yeah. Sean McVay's if there's a couple of geniuses that you can throw that. Yeah. You could throw that word around and you can probably throw it around with him. So, this is the play of the game, 100%. Obviously, and for people who haven't seen this, he won the game in the last drive, and everyone's talking about how they ran cover one, and really they were, the Raiders are outsmarting themselves. They got trips right, single 3x1, single guy over on the left, Van Jefferson's over on the left, and I highlight the safety because the safety's actually trying to trap the crosser. They're running like cover 4-10 here. When they're going to trap the first guy across with that safety. And the minute he turns his shoulders like this, Baker's like, you're going to do what? You're going to give I have one number one receiver right now. I have one guy that you could be a number one on another team or a number two, right? Everybody else is like off the practice squad. And you're just going to leave him single coverage. Okay. Like, do we think he could do this?
Exactly.
Crazy play.
They like you say, outthink themselves. You're thinking too much about the scenario. Play maybe cover 3 right there. Cover 3 covers that up. Helps with that, that play right there defensively. Cover 3 stops that play, or puts your defensive backs in a better position than that cover 1 where he's trying to trap the crosser. So
at least makes him feel like he has a little bit of help. Right? Like usually what happens when you go down the red zone, what do most people do down in the red zone, or what they do historically? They'll run some sort of like 2 shell cover 5, which is 2-man, right? They'll run something where it's like, we're not going to give up this touchdown, right? We'll force you to run it because everybody wants to throw it. And it's just that was bizarre. But again, you have to make the play, right? You got to make the play. All right. Defensively, there's one big question here. And it's like, if this happens, this is the scenario. If this happens, the scenario is completely changed. And that's Aaron Donald is supposed to play on Monday night.
Oof. Yeah.
It's up in the air, but the expected return was this Monday night. Like, he's not going to miss a Monday night game in prime time. So you want to talk about like what do you do? How does your offense change when they're like, oh, by the way, 99's playing, he's healthy?
I mean, it's a problem. I mean, it's really nothing you could do other than stick to your fundamentals.
Right.
It's a problem, but stick as an offensive line, regardless of what the track history has been. The history has been play your basics. The fundamentals. Block as best as you can because that's what you got to do, and double team all day as much as you can.
I would say that, man. Like, let's not pretend.
Yeah,
let's not pretend in a current version of our line. Let's not pretend that Aaron Donald can be blocked unless, like, if they line him up against back, they might. He goes out and plays D end every once in a while. If he goes out on D end versus Bakhtiari, then he's just doing it for his ego because there's literally no reason, given everybody else that's across the line, to go do that. Right, I just take any other matchup. He's got it in his favor.
Yeah,
the Rams are
interior though. You double one
interior. This is one of those guys where we showed it last week actually with that B gap running back insert, right, with the Detroit Lions. Mm-hmm. This is where even if you're sliding the other way and you go like, hey, we're going Louis, but he's on the right guard. All right, dude, you got the B gap, okay, and I expect you to be there. You have to be there, right? So it's almost like running scat, except for that guy's got.
It's not a decision.
Yeah, it's not a decision. Yeah, exactly. It's an order. It's a command. It's a command.
Yeah.
So the Rams are actually pretty good against the run this year, man. They're giving up only 4 yards a carry against the run. That's actually excellent. 102 yards a game is ranked for 5th in the league. But they give up about 23 points a game. It's about middle of the pack, 16th in the league. They give up 330 yards. And really, I think this is more about offensive inefficiency than anything else. The other thing is Jalen Ramsey's having the worst year of his career, and he's had a star-studded career. He hasn't had a great year. The passing game from this,
I haven't heard his name a whole lot. Yep.
Well, yeah, nothing good. I think they gave up. Going into last week's game versus Devontae, they were talking about he'd already given up 7 touchdowns this year, which is more than he's ever given up. But they're 68% completion percentage opposing quarterbacks against them. So opposing quarterbacks are throwing 68% against the Rams, which is a ridiculous number, and it kind of goes to show you, right, how the front end mixes with the back end. Like, you can't make beautiful music if you just have, Aaron Donald and nobody and not a Jalen Ramsey, or not Jalen Ramsey and you have an Aaron Donald. Like, it doesn't work, right? You have to have both. And I think when you're missing one, the other one's going to have a little bit more of a problem. So they're a base 3-4 defense. One thing they did last week, and they pointed it out all over the game, and we'll point it out on the film, is they've been playing 4 run-stopping defensive linemen on the line of scrimmage in their 3-4. They moved one out to the outside linebacker position because they had injuries. They really haven't. They brought some guys off practice squad and they've signed some free agents, but we don't know if they're going to bring this guy. What's his name is Michael, I think, Hocht. He played outside linebacker number 97 last week, and he got exploited by the Raiders. I'll show him on these end arounds. But Bobby Wagner's there now. He's having a really good year. They actually showed this.
He has 111 tackles now.
They were showing the stat between like Bobby, because the Seahawks had to get rid of Bobby, right? And it's like you don't want to keep him too long and everything. So they made that business decision. He's always going to be a Seahawk, Legion of Boom. But the number, like his stats versus his replacement stats, I won't put the guy's name out there, but it's like, dude, you miss Bobby. Bobby's a generational talent at quarterback, man. So Greg Gaines, number 91 for them, is playing well up front.
Linebacker,
And when he gets back, his partner here in Aaron Donald, I think it'll be even more effective. But they're a pretty good team, but without Aaron Donald, they really don't create much of a pass rush. They really don't. I think their defense suffers because of it.
Yeah, because he does so much. I mean, he does not just rush the ball, but when he does, there's all eyes on him. So he may occupy 2 bodies, but eyeballs. He's occupying every offensive lineman eyeballs, and then that's a problem because they might forget who they're trying to block, and then that guy gets in. And that's what type of problem he's is to be healthy on the football field.
Talk about okay, so let's say we're in meetings on Wednesday, right? And Sherm gets up there and he talks, blah 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 blah. He says stuff, and then he goes, all right, and they break out, and let's say Rosley gets the first comment, and Aaron Donald's coming back. What do you think he says? What's the comment to the rest of the entire room about 90 days? Do we even act like it? Is it one of those things let's just act like he's not going to be there, or do we just hit it over the head? All right, this dude will beat everybody on this team if we're not careful. Mike,
he's gonna be like,
Mike, just fight him early. Just get in a fight. That's our best chance.
Yeah. We need to block this guy.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Hey, O-line, running backs, chipping is a necessity this week.
We used to think, we used to give, you give proper credit to John Randall. You give proper credit to.
Yes.
I think at some point you give
during our
when
time,
we played
Warren
Tampa,
Sapp.
you give one to Warren Sapp.
Yep.
But I don't for me personally, I've never seen a dude that is unblockable like this guy. I just don't have any clue how I would block him. If he's on, I'm just telling you right now, if we pass blocked 100 times, he'd win enough of them to make a name for himself. This dude is unblockable for the entirety of the game, man. It's just not going to happen.
Yeah, I say I'll be chipping all day. I'm not even thinking about
sliding.
reading.
He beats sliding. I mean, how many
everything.
double teams? There's some ridiculous stat out there where he's beaten more double teams for quarterback pressures than the next guy has beaten clean. You know what I mean? There's some ridiculous stat where his numbers are the same or a little bit better, and all of those are on double teams, and the next guy has 80% less double teams than he does. I mean, he's unbelievable. Luckily, we're gonna look at some opportunities in the Rams defense that doesn't involve our guy
Aaron Donald.
Yeah, it doesn't involve AD. So this is really what we need, right? We need guys that want to be maulers in the run game. 72 is a rookie, the right tackle. The guard here, watch how he finishes this. Now they're gonna slant a little bit early and make a mistake, but they get caught. But I just want to see how the right guard finishes this play, AG. This is what we need more of out of the Green Bay Packers. I mean, just give him. I just got to show it again because it's so
beautiful.
Good. Yeah, it's just so juicy, man.
Yeah, it was beautiful.
This is the kind of stuff.
They watched him down.
I could watch this all day.
Yeah,
this Kenneth Walker the third's pretty good, huh? That rookie running back.
Yeah, he's playing this weekend. He was out of the game. I think it was an ankle. Yeah, he's coming back.
Look at this.
Oh,
look at that! Just
this a pile. This is a nice pile. Yeah, this is a nice pile. Running back can run down the field untouched. Get to the second level, third level.
There's not a lot of explosive runs against these guys. They're actually really good against the run, and Bobby's a big part of that. But here's 97 out here on the edge. You can see him standing up. He's 300 pounds, and so they're just going to run the quick flip. And this for us with Aaron Jones in the backfield. This could be a check. It's literally the question is, can the left tackle capture Bobby Wagner? If the answer is yes, you should flip this ball every time, dude. I take a foot race every time with this guy. Until they either bring somebody they either got to bring somebody else out or and play, get a real stand up outside linebacker, or if they're going to put him out there, man, you got to punish him.
Yeah.
So Bobby,
he's a D lineman. Bobby. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say he's a D lineman. Yeah, he's a D lineman. He just he's trying to react to the play the best he can because coming up, standing up, that's a different territory for him. He's always handing the ground coming off the ball. So doing that it creates problem and gives, like you said, Aaron Jones, AJ Dillon, it gives them an advantage because he reacted to too much inside here.
And one of the things that we don't appreciate, I think, as casual observers is the job of the outside linebacker, the spacing that they have to maintain, whether so they don't give up the backside B gap when they close down for your cut. You cut on the backside B gap all of a sudden, and I'm not there, and you pop through that for a 20-yard gain. They have the tight end coming across the ball trying to take out your legs, right? And then I got all that, and it's oh shoot, now they just quick pitched it outside, and I'm running down. I got to run. It's a very, very hard position. I think it's one of the most athletic positions on the defensive in the defensive lineup right now in the National Football League. But Bobby is a run-first linebacker. He can do it all. He's a Hall of Famer. He's locked up with. But this dude, like he wants to make tackles at the line of scrimmage, and he gets caught up a little bit sometimes, both here in the run and in the passing game. We're just a little bit anxious, and they got this guy all. I mean, this is how they made all the yards on the ground last week. You got another one here.
Yeah,
different look. They're going to reverse this out.
Why am I? It goes to show you where McVay's mind's at, because he knows he's got to deal with a Bobby Wagner, or not McVay, McDaniels, excuse me, or any team dealing with a Bobby Wagner and linebacker. It's like, okay, I need him to react. I need to get him out of the play. You know, if it's a reaction, then he's blocked. They look at that as a block, even though nobody's on him, but he jumps to react because of what he see with the play action or with the run action. Then takes him out the play, then he's blockable or he's out of the play. He can't make up ground from that point.
And the reason that I highlighted this player backside is when you watch this tape, when they go to a trips left strong formation to the left, the safety that usually pops down is the safety of the side of the trips. Why is that important here?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, reverse that. So that's important because if they know that coming in, then they know they can capture this guy, and we're going to stay high up here, right? So it's like this is just film watching 101 for Josh McDaniels, understanding that, okay, to the trip side, they're going to open up that safety. They're probably going to drop the backside and look to trap. So that's the guy that we have to account for on this end around, and that's a much easier block, obviously, than the safety in the channel here coming down and just making this play right off the jump.
Yeah, so good play design there. You got everybody getting run off on the play side, so they got their backs turned. So big run.
You kind of see
no
this
contact
stuff,
for the runner.
You kind of see this stuff, and you just think, Christian Watson, obviously the one he had against the Bears, like this is certainly possible. Again, you got a 2x3 look over here, and I think this is a mistake. The way that they ran this, because
defensively.
I think they just defensively they had an error here because they have the inside guy.
Gotcha.
Everybody's going man, and now
wow, yeah.
Everybody's going man, and they leave the middle linebacker in the middle, and they run a crosser here. Again, this is off of got into a little bit of the pass game. We could just go shotgun. Pretty simple. Everybody's kind of walked up. They're going to bring a little bit of pressure. They got Bobby dropping, but everybody here's man. They play zone on the backside. That does not work. You just cannot do that. So they're leaving people wide open. This is a 35-yard pitch and catch touchdown.
It's two guys open on this play.
It's
two guys open on that play.
I mean, but you're playing
Lockett and then the deep guy.
You're playing against the Seahawks. It's like, all right, well, I know Metcalf and Ramsey are kind of jawing it out, but it's like you forget about Lockett. That's tough. That is a tough look.
That's a problem.
So we go 12 personnel. We go 2x2. You see the double pull, shotgun, play action. We've been talking about it all year. You see how much they get sucked up here. And again, we'll show it from the end zone, but that's Bobby. That's Bobby right here, right in the middle of the screen, biting hard, which you cannot. It's not like you can blame the guy, man. I do the same thing, right? It's a very, very good scheme against this team because you know how hard their linebackers want to fill and keep that under 4-yard average. Yeah.
And you got Walker running the ball the way he has, even though he's been out the last few weeks in this game right here. But he showed up, so you got to respect that.
AG, talk about smart for me at least. Now you could very easily with this play, have Geno Smith open up to his left and hand the ball where everybody's going, and then have to flip his hips. But look what they do.
Yeah,
they let him open up to the right, underneath, like he's gonna flow underneath here. He's really not reading anything. He could look like he's reading here, but he's not reading anything out of this pistol. But it just makes it so he doesn't have to do any kind of gyrations or anything. And now it's just a simple pitch and catch, man. It's smart football.
It is because that opening away from where the play is going, when the opening away from the run action, that's what they're doing. So you got run action going to the left, but he's opening to the right. So then the linebacker instinctually and fundamentally has to make that read. He has to follow the guards coming around. He has to follow the quarterback's body and motion, and then obviously the running back. So as fundamentals, you have to do that. So they're making a defense guy do something he doesn't want to do, but he has to do it to make sure he's reading the play out right to know where he can react. So taking advantage of that, that's why you got the big plays like that. And the same back to the run play too. When you have a good running back, and an effective running, as we saw, then you get Bobby Wagner and guys jumping into positions where they're easily blocked or they're already out of the play.
Yes, sir. Showing this, we're coming in motion. We're coming in motion from a trips look over here. So we're going to go from 3x1 to a 2x2. And I just wanted, this pops up all over the screen, right? We talked about it before. There is a ton of space with these safeties. These safeties are giving receivers a ton of space to work with. And the linebackers are giving free access to everybody off the line of scrimmage. So as you come across here, as anybody comes off the line of scrimmage, if you're not manned up by Jalen Ramsey, like, you're going to get off the line free. Nobody's pressing, and you just see running the exact same route that the Raiders ran against them. We just sit down here at the 30-yard line, and look at that space right there, man. There's 4 guys around him, but
it's 15.
You could build a house apart. You could build a house right there.
Right.
You could build your own home in the middle of the field, right, as much space as he has.
And that's DK. It's like, wait a minute. I thought you want to put a body on him, I'm putting a body on him every time he runs down the field.
It's nuts. And they're going single safety high here. We got a safety playing almost 15 yards off the tight end.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's not a hard pitch and catch. They declare their coverage and zone. They go to man here with the safety trying to cut this across. And this is just a lot of space to operate in. And the Seahawks, I'll show that one more time, man, because it just seems like the Rams defense is giving away a lot of free yardage.
They are.
It just seems like it's a pitch and catch game, man.
Yeah, maybe it's because of the injuries. They have certain DBs, linebackers in there that understand their coverage and the calls, and they have guys they know that it's not real, fully experienced and knowledgeable. So they got to just have them play basic, coverages, or so they don't, they rather give them the cushion and make a tackle but then on top of that, you're gonna eventually miss tackles too. So it's just something that a dilemma coaches got to deal with sometimes.
Yeah, you're right. And we talked about it all year, right? It's like last year was like the bend but don't break defense. Maybe that's just what they're doing right now. And it works if they're scoring a ton of points, right? Because everyone's got to press a little bit more. I had to put these in here because it's Devontae. So you can do all the other stuff if you want, or you can just go line up old 17 against Jalen Ramsey. Was this like the first play of the game? And he's like, oh, God, I'm so good. Jalen Ramsey's actually face guarding with his hand right here. He catches the ball with his hand like this. The guy's look, man, it's tough. And then he does it one more time. Okay, able to space this out a little bit more. And I know Packer fans are just going, oh, this is fun to watch. Thanks, Mike. But I figure you have to appreciate the release. Appreciate the release against one of the best defensive players of the last decade. Because that's what that is.
Yeah, fundamentals.
And then he stacks him.
Fundamentals.
Look at it.
Fundamentals
for guys who don't, for fans, just to appreciate this. So he's got his own unique kind of hop step release, but once he releases, he comes back. When we say stack, that means that he gets back on top. So he's gaining that width. We always talk about that red line. He's not quite on it, but he's gaining that width back towards the field. So 1, he can cut off, and 2, Carr's got all this room between him and the sideline now to operate. That's exactly where he throws it.
Yeah.
Can you imagine?
And
you can imagine. I was going to say, can you imagine being that good? And I forgot I was talking to you. You can. But for me, it's like, because we're just breaking.
I thought you were going to say, can you imagine covering Devontae?
No.
I wouldn't want to, but if I had to, I'll do my best. That's all I can say.
AG, I'll do my best too, but that ain't going to help. You know what I mean? Like, what do we?
Right.
You go tell him to play Call of Duty with you or something right now. You imagine our tool, we bag of bones. I tell you what, my knees would explode before I got it down to the turn. Good Lord. Well, I don't know. It's a 7-point game. It's a 7-point game. I think the Packers should win this game. My keys. You want me to start? You want you to start?
You can start. You can go.
All right. My keys are this. On defense, we have to stop the run. We have to, because they're going to do run, under center, play action, pass. Okay. And we have to take something away and make Baker Mayfield over the past couple of years has demonstrated that when you get him in shotgun and you force him to make plays, he's not the greatest playmaker in the world. Right. And I think with the guys that they have on offense from a receiver standpoint right now versus our defensive secondary, if we can get to the quarterback and disrupt him a little bit, which has been, albeit a problem, but this is not the best pass blocking offensive line in the world, then I think we should have a lot of success against Baker in this offense. Defensively, we need to attack those linebackers with play action pass. They're a good running team, but you have to try to establish that run. You have to, because you have to get those linebackers out of the way and create that space in between the secondary and the linebackers. We have to take advantage of personnel. If they're going to keep guys like 97 in the game, if they're going to, Troy Hill is the other cornerback. That dude, Jalen Ramsey can tackle. Jalen Ramsey is good at everything. He's not having a good year, but he's good at everything. Yeah. That other dude, you go ahead and see if he can tackle. I check his whole card as many times as possible. I have no problem saying, AJ, we're just going to go run right at that dude. Let's go see if he's about that life when we run that kick play 5 times in a row right at him. And then the other thing for me is, if Aaron Donald is playing, baby, you stay away from 99. Just get him away from
Don't run towards him.
Dude. He is a bad man.
Oh, yeah. I do that in Madden when I'm playing somebody that has the Rams. I run the other direction. It's like, nah, I'm not messing with that. But for me, keys of the game defensively for the Packers, I say don't give kind of to add on what you're saying with Baker and the run game, but don't give him no time to get comfortable and take time away for him to make plays, because that's what he does with his feet. He creates space. He'll run around the line of scrimmage and then trying to find goal, and then eventually he'll break it to pick up some yardage. So keep him from doing that, and that's the one thing they focus on is that part of the offense, because they got receivers, they got good guys, but they don't have a Cooper Kupp. They don't have guys that could go out there and just make plays, make catches, and do what they need to do. And that guy is gone. He's on IR right now. So take advantage of that. And then offensively, keep running the ball. You mentioned this as well. And with the young receivers, keep working, Watson into different formations and different plays, finding the matchup problem, get to the line of scrimmage. If you see it, take advantage of it right away, and keep mistakes to a minimum, from the blocking, from the running, from the play decision throw decisions of Aaron out there, and even coaches play calling. Make sure you put every player out there, because everybody's solid players. They're good players. Put them in good positions to win, and then you get a victory.
Hey, I got a question.
Raise that percentage to get to the playoffs.
I got a question for you. After the last game, not to stir the pot, but after the last game, because you just said something that was interesting. Aaron said something on the field. It was like, it was kind of struggling in the first half. In the second half, Matt called some good plays, and we got some things going. And I'm sure he was talking about the end around, but like when he says that, because he's sarcastic and witty and everything, when he says stuff like that, it's like, what did that mean? I don't want to read too much into it, but I kind of love when he says that. I'm like, oh, you play, because it's like if we're all sitting in the locker room, it's like, hey Matt, way to call. Hey, you called a great last 5 plays of the game, man. Way to go. You know what I mean? Because when you're in the locker room, you can say stuff like that, and it's funny. If you say
you can tease them. You're teasing them.
If you say it into the microphone during the fourth quarter, it's like, yeah, the coach called some good plays during the second half. It's kind of like, what the hell you mean by that, man? But I'm sure it's not just as an image. It's just funny. It's funny to me. All right, dude, let's do some
exactly.
picks. Okay, we got 49ers Seahawks tonight. 49ers by only 3. This is going to be a hell of a good game in Seattle. Who do you got? Purdy's up. Purdy versus Geno Smith.
I'm rolling with 49ers. Their defense, and long as Purdy can stay where he's at, playing really good football, being comfortable, that defense is going to help carry him. And he still, because he has all those weapons. He has Christian McCaffrey. Even though Debo's out for now, but he'll be back. But he's still got Ayuk that catches the ball well. And then you got this guy named Kettle. You got a Kettle in tight end. So there you go. And then defensively, he's going to do their thing.
Back, man. I think what's going to be interesting, there's 2 rookie offensive linemen for Seattle. Charles Cross, they've been playing really, really well for these guys since day one. Now you're playing Nick Bosa. You're playing Nick Bosa. And then Eric Armstead inside is playing. He's back in Pro Bowl form again. It's going to be tough. It's going to be I'm gonna take Seattle. I mean, I think Geno Smith's playing. Who's playing better than Geno Smith right now, except for Jalen Hurts? Like, who's really playing better than he is? He plays kind of mistake-free football.
Maybe Pat.
Yeah, I mean, but okay, the list is short. You know what I mean? Like, he's playing. I'm going with Geno Smith, man. That's the way, I love the way he plays, and I love the way that dude runs, and he's back. Kenneth Walker's back. All right, here we go. Colts, Vikings by 4 at home.
Yeah, I want to say Vikings, but the way they, Mr. Cousins, but I'm gonna just stick with it. I'm gonna go Vikings.
It seems like that time of year
they gotta beat these dudes.
They got the
it's like, oh, what are you doing? You're thinking too much.
They got the snot kicked
last week,
bro. Oh my god, I watched that game again.
The Lions, the Lions are showing up.
All right, we got this is a really good game. Dolphins, Bills. They got Bills by 7 here, and people are acting like all of a sudden. First of all, like the weather's that big of a deal. Like Tyreek Hill travels well, bro. Like I don't know what the hell we're talking about. Yeah. And it's not like Tua throws the ball hard in the sun. Like it doesn't matter if it's sunny, cloudy, rainy, snowy. He don't throw the ball hard. He anticipates throws. Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill they're fast in the snow. They're fast in the sand. They're fast. They probably run on water. They're fast. So I don't know how this is a 7-point game. It's a head scratcher for me, man. Those guys are good. They're not going to lose 3 in a row, are they?
Yeah. I didn't realize they were on that potential streak. They're on a 2-game losing streak right now. Did not know that.
They looked pedestrian last week. I'll give you that. They looked
pedestrian. Who was that?
Niners.
They took away one of their weapons. They did
the Chargers. So you're talking about Tyreek Hill. So they lost to the Niners.
You take away one of their weapons.
The Chargers played out of their mind, right?
Yeah, they did. They play above what they've been playing all year, team-wise. Like, as a whole team, they were on point. Defensively, Khalil Mack was doing things, that he usually does, but this was his game. I guess they had that talk. So, I mean, for me, it's still the Bills because I think overall they're still knowing what they I think it'd be maybe I think a little tighter, like 3, but I say they're still on track. They still in the mindset. They made some mistakes. They got their 3 losses where they can learn from that and then, and continue to put that. And they could just take the recipe of what they saw last week with the 49ers game or with the Chargers game, excuse me.
Here's a pick'em game. Lions, Jets at New York.
Even. This is an even one pretty much. I say I'm gonna go Lions because I like they hungry. They feel it. They smell the playoffs. They smell kicking people's butt.
Lions offensive line.
I know divisional wise.
Lions offensive line is their best asset. Jets defensive line is their best asset. I think they cancel each other out. And you look at the skill position players, the Lions are better with all the injuries that they have on the other side.
Correct. Yeah, Devondre Swift is playing ball. Tight end. Receivers, Amon-Ra and crew. You got Clark Jr. catching a touchdown last week. So you got a lot of receivers for the Lions stepping up and playing some ball. And the tickets are only $38.
Yeah, I know, right? Dallas Cowboys, Jackson. This is a hard game to pick. Dallas Cowboys, Jacksonville Jaguars. Jacksonville's 4 out of the last 5. Dallas looks very beatable, and Dallas is favored by 4 here.
Yes.
It's in Jacksonville.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, last week, from the last couple of weeks, wasn't just last week's game. It was just
couple weeks
coming to a point. Yeah, it's last couple of weeks. People don't realize. They just think, oh, it was last week. Texans got out front and Cowboys fought back. But even the week before, I think it's because they had these wins where they blew people out. They had that 54-point game about 3 weeks ago, and then. Right. It was the Vikings game. Yeah. Where they had 54. They put 54 on somebody, then 40 on the Vikings and something. I think that got them a little complacent. Oh, we could just score points now. Everybody could get the ball. Everybody's going to put it in the end zone. Everybody's going to pick up big yardage. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody's going to do this. So now it's like, it's still pros out here. So Dougie Fresh got those guys playing good in Jacksonville too. So I believe I picked I'll go with overall. I think the boys could do it, but they got to be mindful of them Jaguars.
I'm going to take the Jaguars in that game. I like them. Pick 'em game. Patriots, Raiders at home.
Oh, you got McDaniels versus Belichick.
You're going to be
Belichick. I'm going to go.
Together? They go over there and they spin their whistles.
What's that?
They go, they both are like, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna take Bill.
Don't the Raiders have don't his ex-coaches have a good record against him though? Like just against him, not against everybody else.
I think McDaniels. Yeah, I think McDaniels definitely possibly does. We could probably look it up. Let's see here.
Bengals Bucks, man. No, Bengals going to beat the Bucks, right? I mean, Joe Burrow's playing. Joe Burrow is by the end of this year. Joe Burrow might be anointed the best player in football by the end of the year. The way it's going,
they already like in some places they're already saying that.
Well, so Jalen Hurts should win the MVP right now, but
yeah,
I don't know, man. Like Joe Burrow, what he did last year, and then it's just the way he carries himself and just the way he talks and like how flippant he is about everything. And he's like, yeah, it's kind of what we do, man. You know, it's no big deal. I just go out here and just throw dimes, and I got like the best receiver in the world, and I don't care if I get sacked 50 times. Like it doesn't even. I'm a rubber band, man. I'll just get back up and throw another touchdown. And their defense is good.
It's just a 2 touchdown. Yeah, now the defense. I mean, that defense played good last year, but now they're at a point where they could pretty much win a game for the Bengals. That's where the defense is at, and I think that's something.
Their front, DJ Reader, and then those 2 defensive ends who like their front and Williams kid, the linebacker, man, that front is good. Like that box is as good as any box in the league. They might not have the stats, but if you're just talking about I need to stop the pass, I need to stop the run. Like I need a box that can do it all. Like they could be first pick in the draft if you were just draft a box 7 players, man. They're really, really good players. All right. Last one for the day. Here we go. Team. Giants Commanders. 4.5 to now listen to this. Remember the New York Giants were going to win the Super Bowl after they beat the Packers in London. The Washington Commanders are 4.5-point favorites to the Giants right now. The Washington Commanders, who I literally just read an article about Dan Snyder this morning and all the corruption and trying to do everything. Ron Rivera is going to be anointed a saint, I think, by the time he retires from football. Like this dude, he's unbelievable. You know the best thing Ron Rivera ever did, Amon?
He did.
You want to know?
What's that?
When he went to Carolina, he bought my house. What did he do? He bought my house, okay? He bought my house when he moved because I was already gone, and then I think within I didn't know he bought it. Like I didn't know, the transaction happened. Right. I didn't pay any attention. He probably bought it through somebody else, but so he bought the house, and then I got a phone call like it was like 2 months later, 3 months later, and it was like an insurance company, and they're like, "Hey, Mr. Wall, you used to own this house." I forgot the number of the house. Yeah, he goes. They're like, yeah, and I like something. I can't remember. Was it a heater or something exploded the house, and the house got set on fire, and the house went down in flames. It was like 2 months after we bought it.
Oh man!
And and they're like, they thought it was some sort of like fraud or something. I don't know what they were calling. I go, what are you calling me for? I haven't lived there in 3 years. Like, what do you want? I've been renting it out. And
yeah.
Well, Riverboat Ron, man, that's why he started to gamble with all that. He's like, well, I just probably lost all my crap in this house fire. I might as well just go for it. All these 4th down. I don't know. Maybe that's why.
Gotcha. Maybe that. I'm going with Commanders. There. Daniel Jones can't get protected right now. His old line is getting him killed from last few games. He has no time really to throw the ball, make decisions. Saquon, he's gonna do what he do.
They can't.
But I'm gonna go Commanders.
They cannot. I think this. AG, you tell me if this is right. I know we're dragging this show on a little bit, but this is a point I want to ask you about. When teams get, let's say, so a team like the New York Giants, Brian Daboll, he starts the year, and I don't know this. I don't know if this happened or not. I'm asking you the question because it seems like a trend. They start the year and they're like, okay, we're going to run the ball. We're going to do play action, keep pass. Like Daniel Jones is not going to have to win games for us. Okay. He's not going to have to drop back and be a pocket quarterback. Like we've seen it. We saw it when he played us. We've seen it. We're going to do everything we can to make this game as user-friendly as we can for the offensive line, for Daniel Jones, for Saquon Barkley. It might mean that we don't have a ton of deep passes. It might mean we might not have this 5,000-yard passer, but we can win a lot of football games this way because we have a great defense. We have a great defensive line. And then what happens? Like somewhere along the way, it always seems like, all right, we got to give him a little more pocket passing. We got to give him a little more drop back. We got to give him more shotgun action with a 7-step drop. And like it seems like everywhere it's always like we got to put a little more on his plate. And I'm always like, why? And they kind of fade away, right?
Yeah,
like,
that's when the coaches. Yeah, the coaches forget what got them here, and that we've been a part of that. We've seen that in our coaching staff, the teams that we play for. It's like, what are we doing? I'm like, no, we don't cater to the defense. The defense gonna have to cater to us.
Right.
I remember saying that like for 4 weeks when I was down in Houston. I said, no, why are we doing all this adjusting, whole new playbook, and it's mid-season? No, we adjust to the team. The Titans adjust to us. We don't adjust to them. Whatever.
God, you must have been.
That.
I bet you were surly. I bet you were surly as hell when you were about ready to retire. You got a little bit older. You were surly, weren't you? I was surly. I'll tell you right now. I was surly as hell. I was surly as hell in Carolina. In Seattle, I was so happy to not be in Carolina that I was on cloud nine. Man, I'll tell you what, I'd go into meetings in Carolina and be like, we're gonna try to beat that team with these plays. Like, it's not the plays, it's the players. Like, nah, it's the players, but you got to put them in the right position, man. And that ain't the right position. This is tough. All right. Ahmad, tell everybody where they can find you. Let's go today.
Yeah, man. So you can find me on Twitter, Instagram, Ahman Green 30, all one word, and also on TikTok and YouTube, Ahman Green's Gamers Lounge. So when I talk about my video game fun stuff, talk about esports awards from this past week coming up tomorrow, since I was out of town. So it'll be tomorrow at 11 a.m. Central Standard Time. And Mike, let everybody know where they can find you. Yes, we'll be live.
And are we gonna get some of those bow tie action videos? Yeah, bow tie was banging.
I could put them on. I could put them on the post tonight. Make sure it's up there.
Ahman could be on the cover. You could be on the cover of Damn Magazine. You look so good. Tell you what, I'm impressed.
That bow tie, baby.
Michael
16 Batman bow tie on top of that.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Hey, I'll tell you what, man. All right, Michael 68 on Twitter, Process to Perform on Instagram. Guys, thank you so much for listening. We will be back after the Packers game. We'll do this show on we should do it on Tuesday, shouldn't we?
Yeah, do Tuesday morning.
All right, dude. Thank you. Oh, hold on. Before we leave. I'm just gonna forget it. See you, bud.